Let us let's head to the loveliest village on the plains. We talked about Auburn a little bit earlier when we were talking about Alabama. This is a fascinating team to me. And I will tell you, couple decisions, couple rule changes make me think differently about Auburn. First big decision. Hugh Freeze says, you know what? Philip Montgomery, it was nice, but I'm going to call the plays because it's what I'm good at. At the same time, the rules change, and now the coach can talk to the quarterback in his helmet and basically like, throw it to that guy. Hugh Freeze with the ability to say, throw it to that guy between plays and be heard by his quarterback, but not by the defense, is an advantage.
Yes. Andy, is it bad that I think this Auburn team's going to be really good? Like, to me, there's a world in which Auburn, they could finish 9-3. And I know that still feels like we're like, Cody, they're not going to win double-digit games. But last year, this is a team that finished 6-7. They lost to Maryland in the Music City Bowl. Very bizarre year looking at it, right? They lose to New Mexico State in November. Then they follow that game up with a 3-point loss in the Iron Bowl to a top 10 Bama team. They lose to Georgia by a touchdown.
4th and 31.
Yes, they lose to Georgia by a touchdown. They lose to Ole Miss by a touchdown, who are all three teams that are potential SEC championship contenders this year. And I think they have only gotten better in terms of offense and defensively. The thing that's going to move this train for them is Payton Thorne. Now, what does he look like in year 2 for them? I'm not entirely sure, right? 60% completions last year, 16 touchdowns to 11 picks. Not great, but he is a dynamic player with the ball in his hands, right? He can run the ball a little bit. But the two guys really in particular that I think sort of changed the game for this Auburn offense are Cam Coleman and Keandre Lambert-Smith. Those two guys they force defenses to account for them, no matter where they're at lined up. But this is an Auburn team that can run out of 12 personnel, 21 personnel, and have two guys out wide and still throw the ball comfortably. So I think there's a world in which Auburn could end up sniffing a 10-win season.
Well, and when they figured out that Payton Thorne was better on the move,
right,
is when everything got better for them last year.
Agreed.
But the difference was it was Hugh Freeze reluctant to step in and do a lot of play calling because it was Philip Montgomery's terminology. Now it is Hugh Freeze's offense. It is Hugh Freeze calling plays. And whatever you want to say about Hugh Freeze, he has always been an excellent play caller who came up with excellent game plans,
correct,
and punched above his weight.
Yeah,
as a play caller. So you add Cam Coleman, who is a dynamic, and Keandre Lambert-Smith, I don't know how dynamic he is. He was good at Penn State.
Yep.
But the thing is, he doesn't have to be Superman because Cam Coleman might be. And if he is as good as we think he's going to be, that just makes Keandre Lambert-Smith more dangerous because he is a good receiver. And then you put him opposite this other guy who a defense is terrified of. What do you do?
Yep. And even talking about those two, right? You add in Robert Lewis from the portal, who caught 70 balls for almost 1,000 yards last year at Georgia State. He's going to play in the slot. Sam Jackson, you bring in from Cal, who was their starting quarterback last year, but he comes in at receiver. And then another guy that people aren't even really talking about. I was talking to one of my buddies in that personnel department. He was like, yes, I fully agree. Cam Coleman deserves all the love that he's getting. We still signed a dude in Perry Thompson. This is a guy that was an industry top 50 national prospect. He hasn't shown up yet, which is why he hasn't gotten as much love as Cam Coleman. But that's another freakazoid that they're going to line up out wide. There's 4 potential dudes in that receiver room that I don't think Auburn fans have seen in quite some time.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch because I don't think we've seen anything like this at Auburn receiver-wise.
Agreed.
I mean, Duke Williams and Sammy Coates really were the last duo that kind of really scared you. Yeah. And it's been a while. So, I think the Auburn situation is fascinating because I think their floor is 6-6. Like they're probably as good or better than they were last year.
Agreed. Yes, I completely agree. And I think the schedule, is also in their favor, right? I think they start this season off 1, 2, 3. I mean, 4-0 pretty easily. I
They
think
have
you have
5 home games to start the season,
which
closing
is
with
only
that
helpful.
stretch close with Oklahoma in its
Right.
first SEC road game.
Yep. 100%. And I think, that little skid in the middle's tough, right? You go Oklahoma at home, you have Georgia on the road, Missouri on the road, Kentucky on the road. But you have the potential to finish that season off too with, your final 4 games, 3 being at home. You go 3-1 there, and who knows what Alabama looks like at that point in the season. But I don't see a world in which Auburn doesn't go to a bowl game.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think this is what we thought when they hired Hugh Freeze. This is the difference between Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze. Like Hugh Freeze understands you've got to get some of those difference makers on the field. Like you have to sign a Cam Coleman. That you can't just hope you're going to create a big tough, a bunch of big tough guys who you've developed over years. You need to do that too, but you've got to have difference makers.
Agreed.
So
I think we've seen this song and dance with Hugh Freeze before. I think he's doing it again.
Yep. I get shades of 2014 at Ole Miss right now. So thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.